Okay, look right there, right there. That is a banded water snake. Welcome to South Carolina. We've got a lot to find and a lot to show you today, so stay tuned and let's get flipping. All right, you can see that this snake, I'm pretty close to it and it hasn't moved yet. I don't think it's noticed me, that's good. You can see a little bit of the pattern coming out right here on the bottom. You can see it much better as we follow it into the water here, but that is a really good sign that this is a banded water snake. They also have a more flat head to them, so you know that this isn't one of the pit vipers. Now, of course, they can change their head shape, but when they're sort of hiding like this and they're not trying to be defensive, that's their normal head size there. So that is really awesome. Now, I'm going to try to get a little bit closer, but this snake is positioned really well to escape me. I am not going to jump. I'm not going in the water there. So if he decides to take off before I get closer, there's a good chance that we won't see him again. All right, now I very much enjoy taking video of snakes that are in situ. I don't like to disturb them if I don't need to. And usually I only really do if they're in the road and I want to get them out, and there he goes, just like that. Yeah, I told you there was not going to be much of a chance, and maybe I should have just went and reached for him rather than chatting with you guys.
You think something's wrong?
Is it dead?
No.
Did you step on him?
No. Oh. It's like falling over from rocks. Is something like a leg broken?
I don't know. I think maybe he got ran over by a bicycle, maybe by accident. But yeah, hopefully he'll recover. Now, I got a late start today, so we might not see so much in the daytime. Luckily, dark is only in a couple hours, so let's see what happens then. Well, it is absolutely deafening here. You can hear all of the Copes gray tree frogs calling. That's the main sound that I'm hearing. I'm hearing eastern narrowmouth frogs and some squirrel tree frogs as well. And just look, like, it is crazy. Here are the squirrel tree frogs calling. One's right there. I think another one's over there somewhere. But it is just so much wildlife right here. Let's take a closer look. Well, this is excellent. We didn't find just one, we found two. So if you look right there, that is that really loud Copes gray tree frog that's calling. And right over here to the left is another one. Oh, there he goes, making his big call. Let's see if we'll do it again while the light's on him. Yep. Now that is really cool. Now obviously these guys are gray in color, but they do change color. And so sometimes they can be brown, or sometimes they can even be like fairly bright green. But today they're really showing off their main sort of gray colors. They also have a little white spot below the eye, so let's see if you can make that out there. That's really a key field mark. But who knows? I'm still hoping that we find a predator out here who's looking for a buffet. All right, well, this is a little chaotic. I'm actually right next to a fairly busy road here. But you can hear there's a ton of frogs in the background. It's pretty cool. I can hear eastern narrowmouth toad. I can hear Copes gray tree frog. And I think I hear another tree frog, but it's a little bit in the distance. But also what's really neat is if you look right here near my feet is a Copperhead. Now, you are probably aware that these are venomous snakes, and so we are going to keep our distance a little bit. But it's really nice to find such a cool looking snake. And I mean, these are really pretty snakes. I've always enjoyed the color and the pattern to them. So it's really neat to see that this guy is probably just, you know, on the hunt for something tonight. And who knows what he's gonna find. But it's a good sign. There's probably more to see. So one more creature off the list. Well, I may have just found some copperhead food right tucked up there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Check out this beautiful frog. Now, I believe this is a squirrel tree frog. They look very similar to the green tree frogs. They can actually look almost identical, but it looks like the tympanium, the eardrum there, is brown. And that's one of the ways that we can differentiate this between a green tree frog. Plus that stripe on the side, if you can see it, it's much more yellow in color, and the green tree frogs are more green in color. Now, there's also a little bit more of a snack over there too. And I can't make it out because there are probably both squirrel and green tree frogs in this area. But I need to see that there might even be a couple more tucked into here. Well, I just couldn't pass up this little frog here. You can see he's also just kind of sticking his head out among the leaves here. Now, they are probably hidden among those leaves all day long, and now that it's nighttime, he's probably just waking up and coming out to feed. So, but it's very cute to see him sort of tucked in like that. All right, look at that. That is a southern leopard frog. It is a tiny one. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe it could fit on a quarter, maybe a silver dollar. It's pretty small. They get a lot bigger, but it's neat to see. I'm still in a pretty busy, noisy area, but it's nice to see that there are such good frog habitats here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a predator or something swimming through this water on the hunt. So even though I haven't been able to find some of these frogs, I still know it's here because I'm able to recognize the call. And it's really cool that, like, frogs, that's how you identify them. You listen to their calls, and it can be really easy to know what's here. Now, I wanted to tell you about how I learned to identify all these calls, assuming you can hear me over this cacophony behind me. Well, we produced an app called Schechter Natural History's Guide to Reptiles and Amphibians, and it covers all of the reptiles and all the amphibians that you'll find in North America. And what's really cool is that we actually include audio recordings of the majority of the frogs and the majority of the toads. So I listen to that and I can identify what's here and give myself a reminder, because obviously I'm not used to hearing these guys living out on the West Coast. So look out for a link in the description. This is funny. I hope the camera can pick this up, but I went down to take a picture of that that squirrel tree frog in the front, and there's one that landed that hopped and landed on my phone. He's right here now, but that was definitely unexpected. All right, well, I don't have boots, so I can't really go too far off the trail here, but I can hear that there are some little grass frogs calling. Now, unfortunately, they are in this mess and they are really hard to see, but they're easy to hear, and if we see one, we will definitely point it out, but this might be our only sort of documentation, so I wanted to call it out for you guys. And we have our first toad. Check out this guy. Now, that is a really nice shot. If I get my fingers out of it. This is a southern toad, and if you look right behind the eyes, those are pretty pronounced cranial crest there, those ridges on top. And that's how we know that this is not like an American toad or a Fowler's toad, and that we have our southern toad here. And of course, range is certainly helpful too. But he is in the middle of the road, so he will have to move so that way I can get by. All right. Here we go, toad. You gotta hop off that way. Goodbye. Oh, this is cool. For a second, I thought this was going to be a snake. You can see how long it is, but that is a leech. I don't want to get that on me, but it's pretty long. I thought it was a snake when I saw it swimming through the water. There is so much life out here. Just listen. All right, it took a while, but I finally found one of those narrow-mouthed frogs calling at me right there. Let's see, he'll stick his head out, zoom in a little bit more. There he is. That's him, all right. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is amazing. I know you can hear me. Woohoo! This guy just hopped into my hand, switching flashlights. Whew. This is a lifer for me. You can hear them all over the place, but in my hand is a Pine Woods tree frog. So he gets a special lighting treatment. Now, the reason why this is so special for me is because this is a lifer for me. I've heard them before, but it's the first time I've actually seen one. And I actually may need some other equipment. Here this little guy is. Now, I want to show you this area. Oh, don't go away. Yep, it's definitely here. Look at that. Those little yellow dots behind the legs. That's a field mark of these guys. And it's really cool. So frogs, a lot of frogs have these little concealed areas where they have a little splash of color or something. So this guy has these yellow dots. What an amazing frog to see. All right, here's one of those Cope's gray tree frogs we've been hearing calling so much. Right there. Little white eye, or a little white area under the eye. There are green tree frogs calling somewhere so close. Ah, right snuggled in there. Is it a green tree frog? It actually might be a squirrel tree frog. But anyway, okay. This guy is starting to call again. Yeah, just like that. That's pretty gnarly. Really, really cool. We talked earlier about how a lot of frogs will have color and a splash of color in this concealed portion of the leg. So this is that great tree frog we saw, or actually a new one. And you can see light spot under the eye. And if we peel his legs back just a little bit, you can see that they also have that. It is a really wonderful yellow wash of color with yellow spots. So awesome. And that was a great demonstration. I'm going to let him go off and continue trying to find a mate. All right, we can see this frog calling here. This is another Pine Woods tree frog. We can simply identify it from the call. That is really cool. Obviously, I told you earlier that other one was my lifer, the first time I've seen them, but I have heard them before, and this is the best of both worlds. This one is calling like crazy. So cool. There's also another one that's right in there. You can see him. He's taking a break now that the light's on him, but he was calling a lot too. And there's probably more if we were to keep looking, but this is great. Okay, I don't see any, but I figured I'd let you hear the difference. These are green tree frogs that are calling now. They're a little bit higher pitch. They sound a little bit more toy-like. But I feel like none of them, it doesn't sound like any of them are calling from the edge of the water here. So might not be able to see any, but you can at least hear what they sound like. Oh, well, not what I was looking for, but right there is a frog. Let's see, are you a green frog or a bullfrog? I see some dorsolateral folds, so you are a green frog. Nice. New one for the night. We've been hearing some of them, but that's the first one that we've gotten to see. Cool. Okay, this is kind of neat. This is probably squirrel tree frog, just because I'm seeing so many of them or hearing so many now. But look at all those tiny itsy bitsy tadpoles in there. That's really, really cool. They're just all over the place. And on the other side here, I think we have some big tadpoles. Yep, there's one. These are probably a different species, but fortunately, tadpole identification is really tough. So we'll just have to make our own guesses.
Well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe. I figured I'd just leave you here with the sounds of the forest. I'm Greg Schechter. This is Schechter Natural History, and I'll see you in the field.